Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday night modeling stream. Yarr! Internet seems to be working pretty well today. So, I'm your streamer, Bryan Bentley. This is the modeling stream for cgspectrum.com. For all your modeling needs, go to cgspectrum.com/3D-modeling. Man, what are we doing today? Our wing is coming along. I'm super stoked. So today, hopefully we'll be getting into a little bit of texturing for our feathers. So setting up some procedural texturing to build out this feather. So basically we can mimic the look of what we have here, like these super heavy, these crazy heavy feathers that we have. We have every single ridge, every single kind of like detail expressed here, but we want to do that in a texture, right? Because we only want to we want this to be as light as possible, because I'm thinking about possibly doing this in a game engine. So either who knows, maybe probably Unreal Engine, because that seems to be the new hotness. Maybe I've been looking around. I've been looking at Marmoset Toolbag. The latest edition they did looks really powerful, like it's really coming into its own. So we'll see. We still have a lot to go. So we have the wings, we have the actual character to texture, we have I think the next thing I'm going to work on is her talons and her feet, because they have like those cool like lizard kind of scales on them with the claws and little bumpy stuff. So that we can also do that. But that's putting the cart before the horse. What I really want to do is get this wing done. The whole wing is like, this whole project is like 6 different projects all in one. So we'll just kind of keep going until I run out of steam, or until you guys want me to do something else. Lots of stuff like we're going to talk about hair, curly hair, which is very difficult to do, especially when you're trying to do real-time stuff. So it's going to be super fun. I'm really excited about where this is going, and I hope you guys are too. All right, so what are we going to do today? I want to keep working on this feather asset, because I want to give it more information. I want to be able to split out my left, my right, and my spine. I want an attribute that goes from the very bottom to the very top. And then I want an attribute that goes along the length of these spines. So I can use all that in my texturing software. So let's get to work and let's get this done. Or let's start working on this. All right. So I'm going to, let's pop into our feathers. And so this is what I have so far. So if I look here, the first thing I want to do is, I was working on this a little bit longer. I didn't like how I have this feather. If I plug this guy into here. All right, so if I have this feather coming into here, I just kind of shrunk it down, which I don't really like, because that makes the density of these spines really off from the rest of the feather. It makes these look like really fine and small, and the other ones quite big. So what I'm going to do is, let's do hide the objects and set this to dark. So I don't burn out my eyes and your eyes. So what I'm going to do is, I can still get this look. I just have to do it through the actual asset instead of this transform. So first thing I'm going to do is, for this guy, I'm going to bring my top length all the way down to about there, and then I'm going to have to take down my left and right scale. So my left scale, that should come down. Oh, that's working quite nicely. It's working very nicely there. That, and then my right scale should also come down a bit. So quite a lot. Oh, that's beautiful. That is wonderful. So we can see the difference if we go from this one to this one, or actually, am I on the right one? This is, oh yeah, this is still drawing from this, so that one got really small. So yeah, so we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of that, and so that's our new kind of feather. So I'm going to do the same thing to this guy over here. So these guys, these are my primaries, these are my secondaries, and these are my tertiaries. So let's just color these up so I can make sure they all go together. So we'll do primary will be turquoise, secondary will be yellow, and coverts will be, I don't know, purple. So I'm gonna do the same thing as I did here. Like this, and let's plug this guy here. Do this and template that so I can see, and do the same thing here. So take our overall spine, bring that way, way, way down, and our left we're gonna bring down as well. I think I was just being like like lazy at the end of that last stream. I was just like, I just want to get this done, and so you know, sometimes it happens. So, right, that's gonna come down. Cool. And then this guy's quill doesn't go too far. So let's do spine. Let's do bottom length. Let's do like 0.01. Oh, that's top length. Top segment length. Bend. Bottom length. Let's do 0.01. Yeah, so really, really short. And I think I only need one segment there for that. Yeah, so now my feathers are just more consistent across the board. So if I were to, let's save this first, because I remember last time this was quite a task for my computer to handle. And so let's go to other objects and let that cook for a minute. Hello, Rolex game. I don't know what that language is. Yeah, that's looking a lot better, and it calculated a lot faster. So these don't look so dense anymore. So I got a nice what's the word I'm looking for? Distribution, right? Like before, these looked really, really dense just because I was just shrinking everything down. So it's basically all these spines were getting squeezed down into there. So now they all kind of look. It looks more uniform. So good. That's what I want. So that mission accomplished. That one's good. Okay. Next thing I need to work on is I really don't like my this proxy here. So I have this guy, I have this guy, and I have this guy, and I think I want a little bit more control over my proxy geometry. Oh, am I getting echo? Okay, let's let me see. Let me turn off my. I'm trying a new noise suppression filter, but that might be giving you echo. Let's get rid of trio. Yes. Okay. Let me know if that's helping the echo or not. Yeah. So you might be able to hear my my air conditioning unit in the background, but that's okay. All right. Cool. So let's get rid of that. And okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna pop in here. And so I'm going to do, so basically what I want is, so if I draw this out, so I have my spine, I have my, oh, this is terrible drawing. I have my left side, I have my right side. So what I want is, one thing I want is, I want an attribute that goes from 0 to 1 over this entire thing. I probably want an attribute that goes from 0 to 1 here, from that way. Same thing, 0 to 1 going this way. And then I want a mask that says this will be red, this will be green, and this will be blue. So I can mask this out in, I'm gonna texture this, I believe, I'm gonna try to do it in Substance Designer. I haven't touched Substance Designer for about a year. So and I just updated all the new Adobe one, but I'm mostly for most of this I think the base level Substance Designer should be fine. I'm not doing anything super crazy. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's the plan. So the first thing I need to do is figure out. All right. So let's see here. Okay. This is my. Yeah. So this is my spine here. I think I grouped these already. Yeah, I have spine, I have left feather, and I have right feather. So I think I'm going to... Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll build these build these attributes just after these groups. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is, so for my spine, like I said, I want an attribute that goes from 0 to 1 here. Yeah, and I might already have that. Let's take a look. Oh, accidentally hit my skylight button. Feathers. Let's pop in here. Yeah. So what was I gonna do? Oh yeah. Let's see. God. Oh man, a little jittery today. I think I had too much caffeine today. My hands are a little off. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Split. Top bottom. And I could also try to just go to. Is there a There's a build. I think the technical desktop will give me that. Spreadsheet. Okay, cool. Feathers. Pop it in here. Grab this guy. Okay, cool. So looks like I have a curve view. I kind of don't trust it though. Let's see what it looks like. So let's see what this curve view looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a. Let's do a color. I did this a little bit last time, but now I'm actually going to really control it. So I'm going to do curve view, I'm going to do point, and I'm going to do ramp from attributes, and that's going to be curve view. And just so I can see this like I did before, I'm going to make this two really, really garish colors. Like I'm going to make this one like this red and this green. Okay, yeah, so that's working. I like that. Okay, so I can take that curve view value, and so actually what I want to do is I'm going to reset that actually. So this is 0 and this is 1. Now it's color, right? So this is this will be spine curve view. Just so I remember what that is. Okay, so that's spine curve view, and then I'm also going to make a pull this over here maybe. Getting a little cluttered. That's okay. So I'm also going to make a another one of these, and this is just going to be my mask. Okay, so this is going to be spine mask. Okay, so that mask I'm just going to do instead of ramp from attribute, I'm just going to do constant, and that's going to be bright red. So as I do this, if I go and if I plug, let's just plug, yeah, so let's look at the sweep. So our sweep is what's wrapping the geometry. So I'm hoping that the sweep will pick up these attributes. So let me look and see, let's see, UVs and attributes. attributes from backbone curve from cross sections. This is perfect here. So basically I can tell it, so it's picking up everything except for P, in, up, P scale, scale, orient, rot, pivot, trans, and transform. Okay, so that should pick up our color. So let's just plug this in here. Yep, so that's right. So that's black down at the bottom, down here, and white all up at the top. So it'll pick those up, and then it is, yeah, so this is all red. So that'll pick all that stuff up. So that's perfect. That's great. Okay, so now I need to take these guys and kind of re-inject them back into this stream. So I think I can use an attribute copy to do that. Now this is like almost like a compositing trick. Attribute copy. So it's going to be, so it's this guy, required geometry to copy to, and required geometry to copy from. Perfect. So I'm going to say grab this and grab this guy here. And here I'm going to say source group, don't need that. Attribute name. So I'm going to copy CD and I'm going to give it a new name called spine curve U. So now I have the spine curve U attribute, and it's a red, green, and blue value. Perfect. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to inject this guy back in, so I'm going to copy that. And this guy, so this is the red, so I'm just going to call this, instead of spine curve U, I'm going to just call this feather mask. Because that's going to get combined with everything else. So I have feather mask, spine curve U. That is going to, yeah, so this is going to go into, yeah, so that's going to go into my merge. And then it's also going to go into my sweep. So if I look at my sweep here, so if I want to check to make sure that went through, I'm just going to use a quick attribute expression. And I'm going to say CD. And I'll just say real quick, I'm going to say at feather mask. So that should be, maybe I have to do V at feather mask. Feather. Spelled correctly. Cool. All right, so there's feather mask. So that's in there because I'm pulling that back out. And then I can do V at, let's say, spine curve U. Spine curve U. Perfect. So those attributes are in there, so I can pull those back out. So good. So I'm gonna keep this guy around. I'll just disable it for now, just so I know it's for checking. So I'm basically going to do the same thing for my left and my right. So that should be pretty easy. So I'm going to make myself some room here. So I'll pull all this stuff down. And there's my group for my. So this is left feather. So if I look at this guy, I'm basically going to do the same thing. So let's see. Do I have there's an L quill, there's an R quill, left feather, right feather. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So we have a curve U. I have a curve U. And I have left U and a quill U And so there's just all sorts of crazy stuff in here. So I think what I want to do, I want to clean this up a little bit. Curve U, spine U. Group. So I wonder if I clean that. Oh yeah, I think I clean all that stuff out down here. Okay, that's fine. So I clean everything out down here, so I don't really have to worry about that extraneous stuff. I may have to, under this attribute, delete, group delete. Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's leaving those behind. All right. So let's do that same thing here. So let's do a color. And let's just see what this left U is. So rank from attributes. Quill U. Yeah. So it's black here, and then it goes from 0 to 1. Perfect. So that's left curve, left quill U. Copy that. Okay. So that's my left quill U, and then I also want. I also think I want this spine U. So I want this to go from 0 to 1, and I think I don't think I have to edit that from something else. So I think I can build this from just do a little attribute vault for this. So we'll take this and we'll put this over here. And so I think that's just going to be for this. It'll just be just a bounding box, right? This is the bottom of my bounding box. This is the top of my bounding box. So let's see. Let's do another color. Bounding box. Yeah, so that's my bounding box, but I really only want my Y attribute, right? Because this is going from 0 to 1 in Y. So I can do, let's do an attribute expression. I'm just going to modify my CD to just be all my Y values. So I'm going to say color, and I'm going to say set. I'm going to say self.y for all my self.y. I wonder if I can just do self.y across the board. Yeah, cool. So, bang. So we go. Black at the bottom, white at the very top. Fantastic. So this is this quill U. And we'll call this quill. Oh man, I'm running out of names for stuff. This will be my quill U, because this one is, what do I call that? Spine curve U. So I'm going to call this L quill curve U, and then I'll call this just L grad. Yeah. So I'm going to do the same thing. So let's scoot all of this stuff over. Make some room. Pull this down. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same thing. So that's going to be that attribute copy. So I'm going to copy from here into here. So I want to copy my CD, And this is quill U, so let's keep this. And new name. Actually, now that I think about it, I can give these all the exact same name, to be completely honest. So I can say, we'll just call this one length U. Copy parameter. And here, paste. Relative reference, right? So those two are exactly the same. So here I should have a length U, R, G, and B. So those are all the same. That's correct. And then this next one I'll call bbox U. So I'm gonna do another attribute copy. Copy my CD in and a new name. I'm going to call this bbox U. I'll just call bbox. Bbox Y. That'll work. So now I have this bbox Y that goes from 0 to 1. So top. So I have this length U and then bbox U here. So I'm just going to take this entire thing and actually, so I have a kind of junction point. Let's go null here. So this feeds into this, and then this feeds out to these guys. And I'm doing this just like kind of like chop this off and reuse it. L quill U. This is R quill U. Okay. So I'm going to copy, Control C, and Control V. Beautiful things about node-based stuff is you can do this. So if I go over here, now this guy is an L quill U. This is R quill U. All right, and then the bounding box should be more or less the same. Yeah, that's 0 to 1, and then this is going to get the same bbox and attribute copy. Cool. So I'm just keeping my left and right in parallel as well. So let's take that, plug that in there. Let's take that and move this down to here. And so let's check again. So we have this length U, we have, and then we have our, we should have, and then yeah, bbox Y. So length U and bbox Y. So we can check this as well. Go over here. And so we're going to say, let's see, what do we say? bbox Y. Nice, nice. There we go. And then what did we say? Length U. Nice, perfect. Yeah, so we have this center line here. Now, I could have done a bbox on this as well, but there's a very subtle difference. If I were to do a bbox, it would make a straight line from here to here. What this does is it follows this curve. So if I wanted to color, like have the color sweep along with these curves, that's what allowed me. So it's like basically per strand coloration is what I'm setting up. So that's working really, really well. Okay. Okay, and then this one will also need an extra color, so that's going to be my mask. So I've already used red, so I'm going to do another color. Okay, so this one is just going to be blue. And that one I called, what did I call that? Feather mask. So I'll just copy, just pull this off, and say this one goes here, this one goes here, that one goes there. And then we'll do the same thing, just grab these two, Control C, Control V, this goes here, and this goes over here, and then this one will be bright green. Okay, so let's look at V at feather mask. Awesome, so now I have my red and my blue, and let's go ahead and plug that in as well. So there's my feather mask. Haha, great. Awesome, so I have feather mask here. Let's make sure it makes it all the way down. Yep. So that's feather mask. Let's look at the other ones. B-Box Y. So that's top to bottom. Now my B-Box Y looks like it's white here because I don't have anything on my spine. So my B-Box Y for my spine is just the same as my length U. So what I can do is I'll just make a copy of my length U, and I'll use that. So let's see. Don't have to use a copy. I can use the attribute expression for that. So yeah. Sorry, throat's getting a little dry. Okay. Yeah. So tab attribute expression. So grab this, plug it into here. I'm gonna do custom, and what do I call that? B-Box Y. And that's going to equal is that length view? Yeah, length view. B at length view. And so this is going to go. It's coming here. Go into there. Bang bang. And so that should all filter down into this. And yeah, so there's my B-Box Y. So this guy is my B-Box Y, top to bottom. That guy's B-Box Y, top to bottom. I should be able to get a length U here as well. Let's see, where is it? Great, so there's my length U, black at the bottom, white at the top, black at the center, white at the edge, and then the feather mask. Boom. So now when I bake this out, when I bake this high res, and actually I might even have it on, now that I've done it way up here, I should also have it as the curve. So let's move this over here. I should also see that in the curves as well. Yeah, so it's going to the curves as well. So I'll have it on the curves, I'll have it on the high res geometry, and then I will eventually bake that into the proxy geometry. So that's working really well. Now let's work on our proxy geometry a little bit. So I'm coming out of let's see. Do I have something templated? Ah, okay, yeah. So this is my this is the my template geometry, or my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Proxy geometry. Proxy geometry. So I don't really like the way this is working like this. So I think maybe I might be barking up the wrong tree here. But I just don't like the bound. Like I can't control it. Like it doesn't really have any UVs. Yeah, it's just kind of there. And I won't be able to, like, if I need to deform this along this way eventually in a rig or something. Like generally when you have feathers, like when they scoop up like this, like they have like this kind of like if you look at eagles in flight, like their feathers kind of go like that at the edge. So they'll do something like that. So I need divisions along that proxy feather to deform that. And it's a really long piece of geometry, so I could subdivide it, but I don't really need any divisions along like this way. I just need them that way. So I'll keep this around. But I think I'm going to come off of my actual... Yeah, I'm going to come off of my spine geometry here. No, because my spine geometry is bent. Okay, maybe I can do a... This might be really, really silly. Let's do... I'm going to do this very strangely. So I'm going to make a grid. And I don't really need, I only need 2 and 2, and I can leave this thing as bonkers huge as I want it, right? So I'm gonna do a copy and transform. We may delve into a bit of expressions here. So I have, so this is going to keep moving up and up and up and up every time, right? So what I want is, I want to be able to put the top of these guys. Well, let me just make sure this works first. Let me see if this works first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just Boolean with a shatter this proxy geometry. So let's try that. So let's do Boolean shatter. I want to do this guy with that guy. Yeah, cool. That works. That worked really well. But I need to make sure that this will update with my feather. Because right now, if I change my feather, this isn't going to update. But let's also make sure that I have numbers. So it looks like I have double numbers in here, so I'm going to go ahead and fuse this as well. Fuse. Cool. If it's dumb and it works, it ain't dumb. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Now, if I had like some gigantic feather, I might have to deal with this, but I think this is working as it is. It's allowing me to just divide my feathers along one dimension, because feathers just go like this. They don't really. I don't really want to see them fold, right? I only need to deal with that. So, all right, so that's working. So let's see. Let's see, what is this going to put out? So I want to get the top of this guy, right? So if I have, let's do 10 because that's easy. So I have 10 divisions. So it would be 10. So it would be the length. So I'm basically dividing this up by 10. So it would be however tall this is divided by my total number. So let's see if we can get that. So I think this expression would be, so this would be bbox. Okay, so bbox string surface node and then type. So that would be d underscore y max. Cool. So I can do quotation mark dot slash bound 1. Okay. And then capital D underscore Y max. Awesome. Cool. Right. So that looked about right. But I'm moving. So we can almost see like this is that exact height, right? So this guy's that exact height. So I need to divide by this total number. So I'm going to say copy parameter. And just to finish this out, divided by, and then paste relative reference. So there we go. Cool. So that looks about right. So I'm going to do this until these look about square. I think 6 is okay. Let's turn off some of this clutter. Yeah, that feels okay. Not the greatest, but it gets the job done. Gets the job done. Great. So, and then the last thing I think I'll do is so I might have to do this as well. I need to give this guy UVs as well. So I want to be able to UV this, or I want it to come out with UVs built into it. So once again, this is going to change, right? If I change the length of my feather, if I change the length of the spurs that come out the side, that's always going to change. So this is very dynamic, right? So I want to be able to keep that dynamism built in. Yeah. So I'm going to do I wonder if I can just do a UV project. Or UV quick shade. And I want to project through the Z axis. So that's okay, but it's a little long. So I want the y to be 1, so I'm going to have to take and decrease my z. Okay, okay. So that's about 0.1. So if I look at my UV viewport, yeah, that feels about right. So that would be my overall feather. So this would be, since it's a fraction, it's going to be 1 over something. I think it'll be 1 over my height, that same expression. Let's try it. Maybe it's just, oh, it's just my x max, right? So this goes to 1, and this should be about yeah, so 0.113. So that should work. We'll see. We'll see what this does. Okay. Great. So now I have this UV in here. So let's see if this works out. So let's plug this guy in here, and let's go up. We'll have a look. So that's my proxy. Actually, I'm gonna duplicate this because I don't want to mess up what I already have here. So this is my testing feather. So if I take my spine length, no, I want those to stay square. So it's not quite right. It's not quite right. So let's see. Let's think about the math of this. So I have my width divided by my height has to equal 1. Right? Because I want these to be in a 1-to-1 1-to-1 ratio. Oh no. My height equals 1. So maybe it would be my width over v y max. Oh, I think that's doing it. I think that's doing it now. Let's go back up to the top and test this. Yeah, those are staying square now. So this is what blows me away about Houdini. Like, I don't know if I could do this in Maya. Like, to just like dynamically change my my UVs based on my geometry. Like, it's crazy. But you can do this. Like, look at this. It's just, you know, it's keeping that same ratio the entire time, no matter how big or small it is. That's amazing, right? A little bit of math goes a long way. All right, so I think that's working. So remember, this is my test. This is my test feather. So I can't break anything else. So this is what I'm gonna do. So let me make sure that I still have everything coming out of here that I need. So I'm gonna look at this. So there's my B-Box Y. There's my feather mask, and I should get a length length U. Perfect. Sweet. And then I should have groups that are left feather, right feather, and spine if I wanted to do anything with that. So I just need to remove any of these kind of extras. So I want to keep B-box. Y, I want to keep feather mask. I don't need that left U. I don't need the quill. I don't need all that stuff. So we're going to go back in here, and we're going to go into, I think I should actually, no, that's fine. That's fine. I can do it in 2 different spots. Okay, don't need that anymore. It's just kind of floating in there. These are my out contexts here. All right. Let's see. All right. What did I say I wanted to do? Here we go. Group delete. Left feather, right feather, spine. That's fine. And then attribute delete. I want to delete everything except for B-box Y, feather mask, and length U. So I'm going to do a star, so I don't get rid of everything. Oops, nope, that was on my... There we go. So my point attributes, I'm going to say get rid of everything except for B-box Y. Oh, nice little drop down there. I like that. That's new, or at least new to me. B-box Y. I want to keep my length U. And my feather mask. It's always a good idea to just kind of clean this stuff out, especially if you're working in a team. You should only pass on stuff that's actually relevant. So I got my proper groups and my length U and all that stuff. So I'm just going to copy this, see, and come over here. Delete. And that's fine. Yeah, cool. So if I come out to my feathers, so I have my B-box, Y, feather mask, length U, and then my 3 groups on each one. Oh, the one thing I do want to, since I have those, I know those UVs are working. I'm also going to delete as well on here. And these are also on my points. I want those on my vertices. So we'll take and let's get rid of that shot material path. So we'll do an attribute promote. And we'll promote point to vertex, and that will be texture UV. So that goes my vertices, because that's where UVs should live. And then I'll do an attribute delete and delete this shot material path. On my primitives. So it should get rid of, yeah, it gets rid of that checkerboard that's on there. So I know my UVs are working. I don't need to see that checkerboard because I'm actually going to edit these. I'm going to scoot each one over a little bit. So there is one more thing that I want to do. Left, right. If I go to here, I have my left, I have my spine, my left, my right, and then I think what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a proxy on here so I can control how many divisions I have on my proxy as well. So this guy, or no, this guy. Right, so this is all controlled by that. So let's keep that same kind of thing going on. So left, right, spine left, right. I'm going to do edit parameter interface. Oh, that was terrifying. Save, Brian. Save. Save yourself. All right. Edit parameter interface with spine left, right, and I'm going to make another folder here. This will be proxy. This will be grab an integer, put that there. Proxy divisions. And channels, action button. Yeah, proxy divisions. So I say accept. So I should now have a. Did not make it. Oh, I need to put it in the actual. And let's set that to 6. And we'll say edit, copy parameter, come up into our copy, and say paste relative reference. Cool. And then up top in our BB feather, what I'll do is I'll just grab, I'll say type properties, go into my parameters, and just go and from nodes, there's my controller, FeatherCon, just take my proxy and just pull it over here and say apply. So now if I go up to the top, I now have a proxy, and that gives me 6, so I can do as many as I want. Cool. All right. So save this. Save. I'm gonna say save node type, match current definition. I'll tell this one to also match current definition. And so there we go. So on all of these, if I look at each one of these, I should get that's why. Okay, so this is becoming one other small thing. So my base is not being calculated. Okay, cool. So I just need to move this down to my dx min, dy min. So that's going to be my center. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to open this back up, allow editing of contents. And this is just how you kind of iterate through a system. It seems really boring, but it will pay off. Trust me. I keep on saying that it will pay off. Especially when we get to the texturing phase, it'll be really, really cool. The stuff that you can do with this. So in my copy, let's take our pivot transform. From the front view. Cool. Okay. So that first copy. So if I take my Y, my pivot translate Y, and I start to scoot that down. Maybe if I bring this one down, center. this guy, and we'll do this, and we'll do y min. Just one. No. -1. Let's see, -1. Yeah, that looks a little bit more even. Looks a little bit more even. So let's go back up. And let's say save node type properties. Yeah, that feels much better. All right, that feels way better. Yeah. Cool. And match current definition. All right. Bang. And like that. All right. Awesome. So now I don't need these anymore. Save. Okay, so these are all going out to the actual wing, so I'm going to switch these all back to that, and those will just kind of sit off the side, and those will go out to the wing. So now what I need to do is I'm actually going to edit these guys' UVs, because I want them one right next to another. So if I take and I merge this and this and this, and so these are my 3 feathers, and they're all merged together. So if I look at, so these are all stuck together. So I'm going to take my primary, I'm going to leave alone. Actually, no, I'll put a UV transform on each one of these. So let's do tab UV transform. Just gonna go here. Press enter. Actually, I'll just go ahead and set this up on each one of these. Cool. So just scooted those over so that, and if I do a UV quick shade, one, two, 3. This one's still a little squished, but I think that's okay. That's okay. The other thing that I could do with this is, instead of these UV transforms, I don't think about it. That. Do this. I could just do a UV layout and see what that gives me. So UV layout. And I don't want to say none. I still want them to be up and down. And then scale islands to match surface area. So there. So if I want my texel density to be, the same across the board, I can do that. So, Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'm wasting a fair bit of space though. I want to use as much texture space as I can, because I'm going to need a pretty large texture for this, to get that detail in there. So I wonder if there's a way. Oh, what have I done? Oh, it's packing. Okay, let's just undo that. Could be the scale as well. Largest packable. There we go. Let's do like 16 between here and here, so the stuff just isn't butt up right next to each other, and then spread islands. Yeah, I think that's as good as I'm gonna get, right? Yeah, I think that's good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So some of my feathers are gonna have higher density than others, but I think that is okay for what I'm doing here. Okay, so let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of these guys. Don't have to use those anymore. Experiment. All right, so this is like for my texturing, basically. Okay, so I want to be able to split these back out into each part. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to group these before I bring them in. So let's do group. This will be called primary proxy. Secondary proxy. And this will be cove proxy. We'll just call that pri proxy, because I don't want to keep spelling primary. Bam, like that. Okay. So now here, so after we packed all these guys together, we have these three groups, and we can split them back out to do whatever we need to do with them. So let's do that. So I'll do a blast. This will be primary. And delete non-selected. SCC. And COB. Cool. So I have my three different types of feathers. So I brought them all together. I laid out their geometry, and then I split them back apart. Now, mind you, all this stuff is still going out to my actual feather out here. So that's really cool. All right. And actually, now that I think about it, I need this stuff to continually go to update, because I need those new UVs, because I want to export that whole wing as well so I can see it working in my texturing package. So we'll continue to kind of scoot that down until we get to the end. So now these are UV'd. So so this is my low resolution geometry. And so what I'm gonna do is what I want to do is I'm actually gonna merge my low res, and my ultra high res. And I want to scoot these over. So I'm basically going to do almost the same thing that I did for my what's the word I'm looking for? For the UVs, I'm going to do the same thing for the geometry, and then I'm going to bake all that data from my high resolution geometry into my low resolution geometry, and then that will allow me to take it into my texturing package, be it Substance Designer or Substance Painter. I tested this at a lab computer, and I didn't have Substance Painter, so I did it in Blender. So it's all the same concepts, just black and white, remapping values, making your primary like PBR shader, so your roughness, your metallic, your normal, and roughness, metallic, normal. Oh, and base color, or albedo. So, moving along. Feeling good about today. Alright, so, I already have my proxy groups here. So proxy. I need to make a high-res group as well. So I'm just going to copy this and go here. I'm going to call this pre-high. This guy is going to get copied. High. And this guy's going to get copied. High. Okay. So let's see. So there's my out main. Shove that off to the side. So this is going to be, and this is my high res here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to take this guy and this guy and merge them. So it's both of those together. So that's my high res and my low res. I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones. So let's shuffle this off to the side. It's getting a little messy. It's okay. So I want this guy and this guy. We can see how these lay on top of each other. And then same thing, this guy and this guy. I'm just gonna go like that. Okay. And I think maybe my padding is a little bit too big. I think I'm wasting a lot of space in here. So let's go back and do this one more time. Keeping as tidy as I possibly can. Yeah. Right, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is, once again, I'm going to come back in here, allow editing of contents. Pop in here, and maybe my bounds are a little bit too big. So let's do, actually, I wonder what happens if I just do 0 on all this stuff. So that's a little bit too tight for my liking. I do want some. So I think actually what I'm going to do is I'll make a controller for this, or a proxy. So I'll just call this edit parameter interface, and we'll say a float value. we'll call this padding. So copy this. And then same thing, I'm going to save this because sometimes it'll crash. Type properties, proxy, node properties, from nodes, feathercon, proxy, and drag that padding over. Yeah, that 0.01, maybe 0.05. Yeah, that feels good. That feels good. Just a little bit of padding on everything. And yeah, so let's say save node type. Match current definition. So I said 05 on that. And 05 on that. Should now get a little bit tighter response from, yeah, there we go. Sweet, awesome. So why am I doing all this? Because I want to be able to split these out into their parts. So, but I want to transform them first. So I'm gonna put a transform here on each one of these. And then I'll merge all three of these together. And I'm going to split this back out again. So let's do... Yeah, okay. So I'll take my secondary, scoot that over. Let's do 0.2. And same thing here. It's going to be 0.4. So now I have my high reses and my low reses all more or less lined up and ready to bake. So now I can split these back out to the high res and the low res. So let's do that. Let's do a, I think we just do a split, literally a split, because I only want two. So the split, I should be able to say group. I think I can just do star high. Yeah, so star high is going to give me my high res. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do star proxy just to keep the order correct. So there's my proxy, and then on the other side here is going to be my high res. All that luscious information that we built before is all going to be transferred down here. Okay. And then I believe if I could just shoot 5, yeah. So there is my also my what's the word I'm looking for? UV map. It's my UV map. Okay. So now here's the fun part. So one, I'm gonna save this. Control save. So what I want to do. So this is my proxy and this is my high res. So I'm gonna use a labs tool. If you're using Houdini and you're not using the side effects labs, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. There is so much cool stuff in there, and you don't even know. It's amazing. So I'm gonna do a labs. I always forget which one it is. There's 2 bakers. I think it's the maps baker. Yeah. So what it does is it takes in a low resolution geometry and a high resolution geometry, and I can bake out all this crazy stuff, which is fantastic. So I'm just gonna bake out. So there's my low res, right? Remember, this is my low res, and that's gonna be my high res. And so for my first bake, I'm gonna keep this quite low. I'm gonna keep it like 512 by 512 because I just want to make sure everything's working. So what do I want to transfer? I want to transfer a normal map, an opacity map. I don't really need roughness. I don't have any diffuse color, and I don't have any metallic. But what I do want to pass in is, let's see, I don't really even think I need maybe alpha. And then, so vertex color, I think I need that. AO, might be able to use that. Position, might be able to use that. And then, yeah, and then maybe I'll export my low and my high as well into FBXs. And now here's the awesome part, the custom attributes. So I can write, so this is why I made all these vectors, because this bound wide, that's a color. I mean, even though it's black and white, it's still, you know, data. It's just all the same. Yeah, so that's writing from this guy, right? So what I can do is I can say add attribute, and so I can say, let's hopefully bbox y, add another attribute. This is going to be feather mask. I'll make sure I spell these correctly, because I have had times where if I don't spell this correctly, it will crash. So be very careful. Link you. Okay, so let's save this. And it's going to spit out to my hip, render, hip name, and then channel. I don't want that. Let's do feather mesh maps. And I do want to keep that channel there. I think I want these to be PNG. I think should work. Save this again, and let's let this rip, see what happens. Render. Hey, Hartik, how you doing, man? We are texturing, today we are texturing our, well, we're starting to texture the feathers. So, ooh, that is not looking promising. But let's see what we get. Let me go and look that up. Let's go and get, let's look at that data and see what came up. Right, so these are what came out. So if we look here, oh, this is looking really good. And this is only 512, right? I haven't even bumped this up to a really high value, but there's my opacity. There's my, well, that's my alpha. This is my ambient occlusion. Oops, sorry, my mouse wheel is going crazy. Right, so there's my opacity. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit. So it's pretty crunchy because it's only 512, but I'm getting like this really, really nice, you know. So I'm getting some moire stuff in here because I don't have the resolution to control that, but it'll look good. It'll look good. All right, so there's that. Let's go back to. So it's my ambient occlusion. There's my B-box Y. Look at that, right? It's a nice little black. I don't have any color, so that came out black. And then there's my mask. That's what's really gonna help me. So now I can separate my spine texturing from my left hand side to my right hand side. So if I want one side of my feathers to be one color and one side of my feathers to be the other color, or one type of material and the other type of material, I can do that. So Very, very powerful stuff. And then this is my length view. So if I wanted them to change color from the root to the tip, I could do that as well. My normal map is looking pretty good. It's my position. Now, my position, I don't think I'm going to use very much because, one, I think I have to make this an EXR, and two, I move them around in space, so they're not zero centered anymore. So that might not work. But there is one thing I did want to look at. So my B-box Y is still really straight now that I'm looking at this. So I might have to go back and rework that. I still want that B-box Y, like I want each one of, so there's a gradient. So if we look really, really closely, there's a gradient between this and this. I want that gradient, I want this guy to just be solid, right? I want it to be a solid color because I want to be able to color like that entire quill one color. I don't want it to bleed over to another color. So maybe doing that B-box wasn't the greatest idea. So we can rework that eventually. Maybe I'll do it between the streams. So now I know I don't really need. So let's look at. Let's do feather mask. C, and we'll look at feather mask. Okay, so there's a feather mask. So this is what these will look like actually in context. Okay, so let's bump this up to 1024. Save again. Let this run. So obviously, the bigger the image, the longer it's going to take to bake. Okay, so that's feeling a little bit better. A little bit better. $48. Now, it's an unfortunate side effect is that my biggest feather is actually getting the least amount of texture space. Waiting on this to finish compositing. Yeah, that ambient occlusion usually takes a little bit of time. I probably won't even end up using that, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. So I think I'm liking where this is at. So maybe yeah, 2K. But so the thing about this is you're like, oh my god, 2K, that's like a huge texture. But the thing is this one texture is going to texture almost my entire wing. So instead of having one like a bunch of little individual textures, I have one really large texture that I load once and then it just works. So this one's looking really nice. This is looking really nice. Let's look at what that normal looks like. So normal map's looking good. Yeah, looking good overall. Like this is working really well. So that's what's going to allow us to give this some depth overall. when the light rolls across it, you're gonna see that light like hit those bumps really nicely, and it's gonna give it that overall ribbed look. All right. So the last thing I want to do inside of Houdini, well, not the last thing I want to do for this section, is I do want to address that the B-Box Y that I set up way up in here, because I really want to have I'm probably being a little bit too picky, but I want each one of these barbs to have a uniform kind of value instead of just slowly gradating. Like, it's like these little things, like when you, and I don't know how close I'm gonna get to this, but it's like these are the things I really consider. And sometimes you have the time to do this, and sometimes you don't. So, but since it's kind of an academic exercise, I want to get as precise as I can. Excuse me. But this is looking really nice, and like, so I've gone from millions of polygons to whatever this times that is. And my UVs update, if I want to change this, is all like 100% procedural. So it's a beautiful system. Okay, so do allow editing of contents again. Come into here, and so that is, let's see, let's go here. There's something templated. It's templated down here. Okay, so let's do escape. Okay, so this is my top line, and this is my bottom line. So my top line is coming out into here and grabbing this attribute remap over all. So I have this curve U, and I'm copying curve U to left U. Ah, that's what I was using that for. Okay. And this is quill U. Okay, so left U. So if I come to quill U, bounding box. Okay, so let's just replace this guy with a different color node. So let's say color, and here instead of B box, I'm gonna say ramp from attribute, and that ramp is going to be, is it left U? Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. So if we look very closely, each one of these little quills is the same color. So I can push that color onto each little one. So that's much easier. So that was left U. So I'm just gonna replace that B box with left U. So CD B-Box Y. And I might need these later, so I'm just going to keep those around. This guy, instead of bounding box, ramp from attribute, and right to you. Yeah. So you can kind of see, it's hard to see, but you can kind of see that gradient, like kind of wave right there. That's what I'm looking for. So that'll make a pretty big difference. Okay, so we'll do save node type, match current definition, save this bad boy. And I'm gonna run this one more time. And then we'll take so that we can start to build out the look of our feather. Now, while this is cooking, what I'm thinking is because I'm having her be a raven, and she's gonna be Norse, and so I'm thinking there will be like it'll be like my feather will go like this, and then these will be, it'll be mostly black, but then I want to have like something like this, like that. So I want all this to be black, and I want this, I want this to be gold, like metal gold, like so it looks shiny. But what I want is I want the gold. I want the inside, like I want this part to be very rough, equals like 0.8 or something like that. And then out here, this part, and I want to get shinier and shinier and shinier. So the roughness out here will be like 0.1 or something like that, or 0.1. So the idea, I think, is that how I'm thinking about this in my head is like the feathers, like if it is gold, whatever, and those things are rubbing up against each other, that those edges are constantly polishing each other, right? That's the story I'm telling myself in my head. Those edges are constantly polishing each other, and they're always going to be very, very, very smooth, because they're constantly kind of like rubbing on each other like that and polishing each other and knocking off any dirt. Now, as you get to the center of the feather, there's less and less friction, and so dirt and things will just kind of naturally accumulate, water or whatever, oxidation will naturally accumulate in that by that center spine, and you'll get, it won't be as bright. So it'll just give us some variation overall. What else do I want to do this? Oh, the other thing I want to do is I want a randomized attribute per strand. And that's really easy to do. So I have here do this here, and I'm just going to do another color, and this is going to be constant, but this is just random. Oh no, don't want to do that, because that's going to color each primitive. Even if I do primitive, it's going to color each primitive random. So I want each chunk to be a random color. So what I can do is, instead of random, I can do random from attribute, and then I can do a connectivity. Let's put this to primitive. Actually, no, do point, and this will also be point, delete, and class. So yeah, there we go. So do the same thing, attribute copy. To, from, I'm gonna copy CD, and I'll call this feather rand. And then, yeah. So copy that, and then just do the same thing over here with my curve base. I'm not really using the curve base very much, but I'm still building it out, because if I did want to, you know, eventually get super close to this, right? Or I wanted to have like millions of these, and I was doing like a pre-render thing that I wasn't. So I'm mostly just targeting for, like, I'm thinking about how I would do this if I had to put this into some sort of real-time environment. So you can't really put curves in, well, not yet. That's coming very quickly. But you can't really put curves, raw curves, and you can't put this much you can't put this much geometry into into a real-time environment yet. I mean, there's with the Unreal Engine 5s, there's the whole nanite system, and that's only going to grow. But this is these are going to be deformable by definition. Feathers flex and bend and stuff, so you can't just throw millions of feathers into the system and have them flex and move around, or else it's going to choke. Okay, so that's feather rand. Cool. Yeah. So let's go back out. Save no type. And match definition. Save. So if I come down to my high res, I should have a feather rand. So there's that. Yeah, so there's my feather rand. So I'll add that to my customs as well. Add FEATH feather rand. Okay, so let's save this. And actually, you know what? Because I'm gonna actually bake these out at like a bonkers resolution, like 4K. Because I'm not actually going to use these maps. These maps are going to be used, well, maybe the normal map, but these maps are going to be used to generate my other maps. So my normal map I might use directly out, but I'm probably going to edit its like intensity. Like if I'm finding this moire pattern, and that's what these little lines are. If I'm finding that's too intense, I can knock that down in Substance Designer. So yeah, so I want as much information as I can get. So let's hit render and let this cook. And I may even spit out my just do a quick FBX export of the whole feather. So we'll go check the whole feather. I'll throw a UV quick shade on it so we can see that checker happening on all of the proxy geometry. The other thing I'm probably going to have to do is I'm probably going to have to actually texture the like the chicken wing that's on the inside as well. And so I think Substance Designer will be quite good in that regard as well. So I might be able to get use the flow map tools, so we can examine those as well. Can I say the word Hammond backwards? No. No, I can't. I don't even know what that means. Okay, cool. So this is cooking. Dare I open Substance Designer? No. Streaming and Houdini and Substance Designer may be a little bit too much. So we'll just wait. I just have to be patient. Just learn to be patient and learn to wait for good things to happen to you or come to you. I could have probably turned off AO. That's taking a long time. Look, I should be able to see my low res and my high res geometry. If I look at my, let's see, high res. Oh, there they are. So there are my high res feathers there. And then low res. Be about right there. So I don't know. It's very strange that they're tessellating like this, but that's okay. They're there. Ooh, already I can tell these look really, really good. Look at that 4K goodness up in there. Man, that AO looks, that AO even looks great. Look at that. Yeah, so this is that B-Box Y I was talking about that I was working on. So if we come into here, you can see now each strand is one, so you can actually see the overlap there. So it's very subtle, but this strand is subtly darker than that one, and so on and so forth. So we can it's almost like a depth pass. You could look at it if you really wanted to look at it that way. So that's really cool. The rest are still being written. Let's look at a mask. It's looking really good. It's really good overall. My random. That's looking really nice. So what I can do with that random, what I can do with this random is I can use that to modulate shininess from strand to strand to strand. Just adds a nice little bit of like non-computery ness while using computery-ness. And then I have my opacity, my feather position, and my length U. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That's going to work very, very nicely once we get that in. So this will allow me to modulate. Like I said, I want the center to be less rough and the outside to be more rough. No, I want the center to be more rough and the outside to be less rough. So I might just get away with just inverting this. And then my normal map. Yeah, that's looking great. So just let this finish. I think it's doing position now. So I might actually hold off on doing this until next time, because this is just finishing up compositing. But what I will do is, what we can do is I can put just like kind of like a quick material on this just to see what it'll look like in Houdini. And yeah, I think that'll take us to why this is taking so long. Stop messing with things, Bentley. So while this is doing whatever it's going to do, those maps, right? And it's a really powerful idea. This 0 to 1, right? So if we look at that from the side, right? If we have, let's blackboard this. So let's say this is my, so this is 0, 0. This is x is 1, y is 0, and y, right? So this is black. And this up here is white. We have this line. So this would be a straight gradient, right? So this would be like if I were to do this in Photoshop, it would like be like really sparse, and then it would get thicker and thicker and thicker, like that, right? So and this is what the curves tool is doing in Photoshop. So if I take at 0.5 and go across here, and I go at 0.5 and go across here, oops, missed. Right, this point here should be 50% gray if I have a straight linear black to white. Now, when I if I go into my curves node in Photoshop or Substance Designer or Substance Painter or whatever, basically what I'm doing is I'm pushing around this middle value. So I can make this go like that. Right, so now instead of 50%, I'm at like